Saudi trip that Trump is on.
Right, straight to a Fox News alert. President Trump making a grand entrance as he kicks off the first major overseas trip of his second term in Saudi Arabia.
And he's working to secure big wins on behalf of the American people.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy is live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia right now.
Wait, I want to show you guys this before we go to the next. Saudi Arabia brought out a mobile McDonald's for Trump. We know Trump likes McDonald's. This is basically a McDonald's food truck.
Good morning. And just before we came to air, I was getting a coffee at a kiosk at this conference center, and I asked an American guy who was right next to me, what brought you here to Riyadh? And he said, money. There is so much money at this conference center.
Yeah, Gary says they rolled out the red carpet and golden arches. Actually, I think they rolled out the purple carpet. It's supposed to signify royalty, I think. But yeah, that's kind of funny.
That is going in both directions. You've got Saudi companies that are investing in the U.S., American companies that are investing in Saudi Arabia. But the most important thing is just these Saudi government investments in the U.S. They are promising
Oh, yeah, lavender. Kettelberg, yeah, that's correct. I think lavender. I can't tell so many colors apart. It's like purple to me.
$100 billion in U.S. investment over the next couple years. This conference would be a good place to start explaining what exactly that is going to look like. And there's just a lot more to the U.S. and Saudi relationship now than just security guarantees and oil sales. The Crown Prince wants Saudi Arabia to be a major player on the world stage, and they are. So we expect the next couple days to look like this when it comes to investment in the U.S. Saudi Arabia's got the $600 billion pledged over the next 4 years. Qatar has $200 to $300 billion expected to be announced on this trip. Plus, you got the.
What do you guys? Because I've been seeing debate a lot about the $400 million jet that Qatar is basically gifting to the U.S. They're not really gifting it to Trump. Again, it's not a personal gift. It's a gift to the U.S. government. Do you guys think that's appropriate or not? Because I have seen good arguments for both sides, but then again, like we can afford to pay for the jet. I don't know if we should be taking on a gift, even if it's from someone. Again, Qatar. A lot of people try to frame Qatar as like a country we shouldn't trust, but it's important to note U.S. has one of the biggest not one of the biggest. U.S. has the biggest military base in the Middle East in Qatar. U.S. and Qatar definitely have a very good relationship. And I know Qatar houses, I think, Hamas and Taliban, but that's because I think U.S. prefers it that way. That's because if we ever want to talk to them, we can talk to them because they are in Qatar. If there wasn't a Taliban base in Qatar, we wouldn't be able to negotiate the deal. Or if it wasn't a Hamas base in Qatar, we wouldn't be able to negotiate the freeing of the American citizen who just got freed.
$400 million jumbo jet. And then when we get to
Rock Lobster says he doesn't trust Qatar, but why? I know people don't trust Qatar, and mainly because Qatar has like so many terrorist bases, not bases, like headquarters, I guess, in their country. But U.S. approves of those headquarters, and the whole reason behind that is because like we can negotiate with it. Well, Mark of Realty said the Statue of Liberty was a gift, but this is a little bit different too, right? I guess, I don't know, this is where it's confusing, because it's not a personal gift. That's where I think people misunderstand it. It's not a gift to Trump. It's a gift to the United States government. So in no way it's like a personal gift. Yeah, because of the security issues, for sure. But then again, it's not like U.S. agencies are definitely going to check the jet to make sure there's no bugs or anything in there. That's the thing. So it's not going to be like he's just flying around in the jet right away as we get it. What is Qatar getting in the? Then again, it's a gift. So I don't think they're getting something in return. But I think what Qatar really hopes is like they probably just need a support, because Qatar is a very small country surrounded around like big countries that don't like Qatar. So their whole foreign policy is to play both sides everywhere. Qatar just wants to be important in every single negotiation, because that way Qatar thinks like, oh, if every country thinks Qatar is important to negotiate these deals that seem impossible, then they're going to help Qatar if any big country tries to invade it. You guys remember how back in the 90s, Iraq just invaded Kuwait because Kuwait had a lot of oil, but Iraq was the bigger country. Well, Qatar is kind of in a similar situation where Qatar has a lot of oil, but Saudi Arabia has a lot bigger country right on its border. So, and Saudi and Qatar don't really like each other either. So yeah, I want to show you guys this funny clip. Like, this is how much Saudi and Qatar don't like each other. So this is how, so you guys see that small island right there? I wonder if we have a better map. You guys see that small island? That's Qatar, and Saudi is the only land bridge Qatar has. So last time they were fighting, I think what's Saudi tried doing, they wanted to dig up this whole area. So Qatar has no land connection. They wanted to create Qatar into like, just like an island. Hopefully I'm pronouncing. I know Qatar is pronounced Qatar, not Qatar.
In the United Arab Emirates, they say $1.4 trillion pledged to the U.S. over the next 10 years. I have traveled the world with President Biden and been to many international conferences with him. They were all political conferences. This is not a political conference. This is a business conference, and it is.
Yeah, Wifey21 said it correct. Qatar is basically trying to become the Taiwan of Middle East. They're a small country at a big risk of like being invaded. So they think if they just become important on the diplomatic stage, they will have allies who will defend Qatar. That's basically what happened in the 90s. Kuwait got invaded and lost, but it was the United States and like the Western coalition that helped get back the Kuwait. So you need allies as a small country if you want to survive.
Key to the third pillar of the Trump platform. He's already got Doge looking at savings. He's got the tariffs looking to level the playing field. And now here, he's got international businessmen and the leaders of Gulf states promising huge checks to the United States and companies there. Back to you.
Hey, Peter, can you give me an idea of like how this is facilitated? For example, a lot of rich people, that's a rich country. Where does the business pitch?
I don't think the jumbo jet goes to the Trump Foundation. I think, yeah, 100%. If Qatar is buying Chinese air defenses, that should be a big issue. I didn't know that, Mike. Let me look into that.
Does Elon Musk stand up and say, invest in Tesla, invest in my boring company? Or, I mean, does Sam Altman get up and said, OpenAI, how does it go? I mean, who goes after who here?
I don't know specifically what is going to be announced, but the way that it's going to work, and we expect to hear from Elon Musk later on, he will come here to a mixed crowd of American rich guys.
Oh, wow. So in 2017, Qatar did buy weapons from China. That's definitely something that should be brought up, I think. So tomorrow he's visiting Qatar at like 10 a.m. Eastern. So we may go live while he's there.
Saudi rich guys who are all seated because the program is supposed to start any minute. And they will talk about opportunities here in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And the focus is heavy on artificial intelligence and energy. But then they will also be pitching Saudi investments in the U.S. So it is going both ways. But everywhere that you go, they've got these exhibits set up where it shows the Saudi vision for 2030. And they've got like a vertical city where an entire civilization, basically, that they've already started building would be occupying only less than 40 square kilometers. And because the whole town is just stacked up on top of each other. They are trying a lot of very futuristic things here in Saudi Arabia. They have the money here.
So with Syria, too, we had big announcements today. When Trump was in Saudi, he was at some conference. I forgot what it was. And he gave a big speech, and he said U.S. will be lifting all the sanctions from Syria because they have a new government. We'll get into that in just a second.
To do that, and a lot of companies want to invest money in Saudi Arabia with the promise that they could be part of this vision of the future that they have. Will it work out by 2030? Who knows? But the people in this room that President Trump is going to come to in a couple hours and address, they have the kind of unlimited funds to make it happen.
Peter, what does the schedule look like for the week? Because I know this is a 3-nation tour. He's also going to Qatar and to UAE. What's the schedule? Today's Tuesday. They come home Friday.
Yeah, so today and tomorrow he'll be here in Saudi Arabia. Then it is on to...
Oh, wow. So, okay, I didn't know that. So Noah pointed this out. This is a huge deal. Hold up. Let me pull this up. So the jet is not going to the U.S. government. It's going to go to the Trump Foundation after. Okay, that's definitely very problematic because it's going to the Trump Foundation after Trump, basically the term ends. That's actually definitely not a good news because I'm sure they're not giving $400 million for nothing. let's see if it goes through, because I think this is there are a lot of like Trump supporters and Republicans. I saw Ted Cruz, who's from Texas, actually, senator from Texas, who's speaking out against Trump accepting this gift.
To Doha, where we expect a bunch of announcements, and then on the last stop is going to be in Abu Dhabi Thursday, part of Friday, and we thought that there might be some big.
Yeah, that plane is definitely not good. But that's crazy. Yeah. Also, I didn't know the Air Force One is from 1980s. Considering how many Boeing planes have been like just messing up in the last year, I would be scared in flying in a plane that's from 1980s.
Political or geopolitical diplomatic announcements with regard to the Ukraine war, with regard to maybe a ceasefire in Israel, in Gaza rather, with Israel and Hamas. A lot of that stuff is getting buried by just these huge business deals that we expect to be announced today. So the way that the itinerary has been laid out over the next couple days, the White House wants the focus to be on big business deals as opposed to diplomatic deals that they know could fall apart at any moment, because we've seen how fragile the peace can be in Gaza and in Ukraine. And
But
so
Peter,
I know
yeah.
President Trump said that he might dip into Turkey to sit in with Putin and Zelensky if that meeting happens on Thursday there. We haven't seen a change to the
Is
schedule.
there
Well, Putin said he's not going to be flying to meet with Zelensky. I don't know why. Maybe Putin doesn't like facing someone he invaded.
Suggest
room?
that is going to happen.
Is there room in the schedule? Say they, because they have these other folks, the other advisors that are there before Putin and Zelensky get there, and there may be a deal that happens. If that deal happens, then the likelihood of the president showing.
What do you guys think? You guys think there's going to be a deal between Russia and Ukraine when they meet this week? Because I don't think Russia is going to agree to a ceasefire at all.
Up is very high.
No, Zelensky said he'll be in Turkey to meet with Putin, but Putin said Russia is not going to announce who's going to Turkey. There's going to be a delegation, yeah. Like Kaltenberg pointed out, I don't think Putin will show up.
Is there room in the schedule through the magic of Air Force One to attend the meeting?
Now, enigmatic. You said Russia isn't stopping, but it's also like Russia is not moving. They're gaining very little ground and losing like tens of thousands of soldiers every single month.
Like that in the schedule.
I would say there's always room in the schedule when you have a president who sleeps as little as
So there you go.
Donald Trump does. And so we've seen like a for planning only schedule. They build in a couple hours for him to be at a hotel. If something like a Trump, Putin, Zelensky meeting was going to happen in Turkey, which is a short flight relative to coming from the U.S., from here, it would probably be something where for security reasons, it would happen under the cover of darkness. We might not even know about it until after it happens. They might just do it like they do these trips that the presidents over the last couple of years, Trump did it to Afghanistan a couple of years ago. It's so dangerous, they just dip in and dip out, and then they tell us that it happened. So
Peter, it's very.
No, this is where like a lot of people bring up, and this is a Russia talking point, that war started because Ukraine wanted to join NATO. But if you look at the Ukrainian polling before 2014, you can see like 70% of Ukrainians did not support joining NATO. They just wanted to join EU. The protest that happened in 2014, that was not about NATO. That was just about joining EU. But when the Russian president, who was like pro-Russia, got thrown out, that's when Putin realized he was losing Ukraine. So he invaded and illegally annexed Crimea. So you can see in the polls exactly, before Putin invaded Crimea, the Ukrainian people did not want to join NATO. And right after he invaded Crimea, the polling went up like crazy. The Ukrainian people realized that only way to stop Russia was to join NATO.
I don't know that,
Yeah.
but if it happened, yeah, there's always room.
Peter, the other thing is, let's be honest, nothing happens unless you sign off on it.
Right.
So unless you sign off on it, it's not going to happen. So I appreciate your humility, but we all know you.
Yes,
really,
once the president gets here, I'm going to tell him which. I will be telling him which deals I think
Exactly.
are okay.
Yeah. If you don't
400
mind.
billion is okay.
And then you would tell us.
250, maybe we skip that one.
right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll hold out. Yeah.
All right, Peter. Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
Peter.
So Peter got a sense of what's happening on the ground. So did Brett last night.
Another important thing that we could hear, again, this is just like people speculating, so we don't know. But there's a chance that Qatar may join the Abraham Accords, which is basically like countries recognizing Israel. Again, very low chance, but people have been talking about it. and maybe Trump will convince them to join Abraham Accords. You never know, but it seems unlikely at least.
I thought this was a really cool tour he gave. So this is Brett just walking around a city that I thought looked like Las Vegas. Watch.
Welcome to Boulevard City. This is an entertainment hub in Riyadh. It has basically everything. It has restaurants, cafes, it has sports experiences, go-karts, snooker academy.
But that's where it's crazy. Saudi Arabia is definitely not like a full-on democracy or anything, but the progress they have made in like the last decade, it is insane. Like they went from a country that was like very old school, I guess to put it nice way, and now they're opening up like crazy in just in the last 10 decades. So definitely good direction, but they still need to open up a lot more.
A WWE spot, there's a McDonald's, there's a Randy's Donuts, even a Shake Shack. A lot of theatrical events, cultural events here, gardens, dancing fountains. There's even a mini New York Times Square. Believe it or not, this massive place took 118 days to build. At its most, they had 40,000 construction workers working.
Yeah, it does look like Vegas, just a lot emptier, not as big of a crowd here.
The same time on this place. There's 280 different restaurants and experiences here. It's something to see downtown Riyadh.
I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Took no time to build. 40,000 construction workers. Did they build that in advance of this trip because they wanted to impress Americans?
No, I don't think that they did before the election started. I mean,
No, Nancy, I think it is opening up now. So they did have a lot of very old school Islamic laws when it relates to like how women could drive or if they could go out or not, but it's changing a lot quicker.
and they were just, this has been a part of the planning. This is a sprawling country that had no interest in doing this in 2000.
Yeah.
Because you think desert. You don't think that. That looks
Right.
more like Times
Well,
Square in
they're
Vegas.
evolving. Even I was
MBS.
looking at some of the
It's
women.
MBS.
He is. I was looking at some of the women too that did not have to have the head garments as well.
Yeah, this is from Fox News, I think.
Yeah. That confronted the president
Right.
and shook his hand. And
No, 100%. They're not going to publicize the repression, but I was just talking about like they still have a lot of ways to go, but it has been improving a lot more compared to like other Middle Eastern countries at least.
and also shook the
President
hand
loves
of,
He does.
right, of the prince as well. It was a beautiful sight.
Well, and also they landed about 2:30 when we were all waking up, and there were 6
No, I can hear you. If some message doesn't deliver, it's probably the Autobot that YouTube has. They have some words that they block it automatically. I have to look at that later, but for now I have it on because it's just me managing the stream.
fighter jets, Saudi fighter jets, F-15s, that were cruising in close proximity
know
to
that,
Air
Ainsley?
Force One. Sean Hannity was on the plane and was sending me pictures of it.
Did you,
and
did you
also,
share them with our control room?
I did. I think we have some pictures. Also, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan Scavino, was on the plane, and he was tweeting out footage, and he wrote on X, "Thank you for the escort and having President Trump's back. We all appreciate it. See you on the ground shortly. Thank you."
How cool is that? Look down, you see the desert.
Yeah, and it was, Sean did send one picture to me where you can see the pilots. Look at that. They were looking into the Air Force One. But it did make me feel a little better knowing that they were protected and that Air Force
a
One is
beautiful
outfitted.
sight.
And also they had to take alternate routes because they don't want the enemy to ever know where our president is in the sky.
Right. I mean, the Houthi rebels said they're going to stop shooting at our ships. They,
Oh,
we
you know
didn't-
what's crazy about the Houthi stuff? I think we stopped, but the crazy part, I think Houthis almost took down an F-35. So that's definitely, it was an expensive mission that we carried out in the Red Sea. Yeah, the Red Sea. But I think it's stopped now. Hopefully, I think it's stopped now because Houthis said they're not going to attack any more ships that are going in the Red Sea. And that was the whole reason we started it, because we wanted the freedom of navigation back.
I hope we specified planes
Talk
too.
about air.
Yeah.
There were 3 of these F-15s on each side of the plane. It lasted for about 30 minutes as soon as they got into the Saudi airspace.
All right. That's so cool, Ainsley. You have great sources. Good job.
The reason he's on the plane is he got an
Good
exclusive interview for about 45 minutes, and that will air tonight on Sean's show. And hopefully Sean will join us at some point this morning on our show to tell us what's going on over there.
He's having.
Ooh. Yeah, the Qatar stuff is crazy. I wonder, I think he's going to probably deny the plane because the backlash for the Qatar plane, it is insane. Even people from the Republican Party are speaking up. Yeah, that's true. The Houthi stuff, they weren't open to talking, I guess, before U.S. started hitting them. Yeah, exactly. That I didn't know that, Kyle, that the plane was going to go to the Trump Foundation after the term is over. That's very bad optics. I wouldn't even say that that's good optics. I think that just looks horrible that he's getting a gift during the presidency and he gets to keep it. That even if it's not corruption, it definitely looks like corruption. So that shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, Noah pointed that out. I did not know that. Thank you, Noah. But what do I have next? I forgot. We already saw that. I didn't think XRP, I don't know, crypto stuff as much. Ooh. I wanted to talk about the Syria stuff a little bit more. So Trump announced in his speech today in Saudi Arabia that we'll be lifting all sanctions on Syria. And I know some people are criticizing this move, and the reason they are criticizing is the Syrian leader used to be an Al-Qaeda leader, former Al-Qaeda leader. But the way I look at it is he's promising to be a lot more open in Syria, and he has openly admitted that him being part of Al-Qaeda was a mistake that he made when he was young. But again, we don't have to believe him in on that, right? But what choice do we have? He overthrew Assad, who was brutal in Syria. So are we going to go in, send in our soldiers to overthrow him? He's promising to be better. So unless he turns into something that's not good, I don't think we should be punishing the Syrian people with sanctions that we put on Assad regime.
Likewise, in Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country.
Yeah, exactly. We can always put the sanctions back. This is people are saying oh, we should not support Syria. It's like, let's say if you have cancer, right? And if you get it, you don't cut off your arm if the cancer goes away just because you think it's going to come back. So unless he turns into Al-Qaeda again, I don't think we should be punishing the Syrian economy because of something he did in the past. That doesn't mean we have to full on support him or give him weapons or anything, but I think we should give him a chance to see how it turns out.
And keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty war.
Wait, Vikash, is Pakistan actually sending drones right now? Because last time I was live, that's when India started attacking Pakistan. It happened live on the stream.
Killing many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade. And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this week. And very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East, I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
No, I don't see any news about Pakistan attacking again. That may be, again, Indian news channels, they go very aggressive with their effects.
And important. The same. Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince. The sanctions were brutal and crippling and served as an important, really an important function, nevertheless, at the time. But now it's their
we
time
have someone from Jammu Kashmir. Nothing's happening on the border.
to shine. It's their time to shine. We're taking them all off, and they're going to have, I think they're going to have, based on the people and the spirit and everything else that I'm hearing about. So I say good luck, Syria. Show us something very special like they've done, frankly, in Saudi Arabia, okay? They're going to show us something special. Very good people. Everywhere we can, my administration is pursuing peaceful engagement, offering a strong and steady hand of friendship to all that will take it in good faith. Together we have made...
Oh, the Syrian leader, or I guess whatever, I don't know what his position is, but the guy who's basically at the top in Syria, I think he's flying to Qatar right now, or flying to Saudi to meet with Trump.
Unprecedented strides and tremendous progress, and we're still just at the dawn of the bright new day that awaits for the people of the Middle East, the great, great people of the Middle East. If the responsible nations of this region seize this moment, put aside your differences and focus on the interests that unite you, then all of humanity will soon be amazed at what they will see right here in this geographic center of the world. It really is. It's like a center of the world and the spiritual heart of its greatest faiths. For the first time in 1,000 years, the world will look at this region not as a place of turmoil and strife and war and death.
But you know what's shocking, actually? Trump is going to Saudi, Qatar, UAE, but he's in Middle East, but he's not going to Israel. I wonder why that is. Interesting, definitely, because Israel is likely like one of our biggest allies, like Saudi, basically.
But as a land of opportunity and hope, just like you've done right here, a cultural and commercial crossroads of the planet. Security and stability will lift millions into lives of safety and success. And
The jet is the reason he's not going to Israel.
nations of this region will be free to realize your highest destinies, honor your proud histories, harness amazing new opportunities, and bring incredible glory to Almighty God.
Did the stream crash? What?
People will come from all over the globe to be inspired by the cities you build, the businesses you create, the technologies you invent, and the beauty, talent, and potential you unleash right in the hearts of your citizens.
Yeah, I read that too. It seemed like there was some kind of falling out between Trump and Israel, because I don't think Israel was involved in this. Oh, I think that's why, what's his name, Mike Waltz was removed, or at least he was reassigned. That's what the administration claims, because something to do with Israel. I don't know the whole detail, but it is interesting. Let's see what's going on. Last thing I wanted to quickly go over is the Chinese air defenses that Pakistan used. Well, they did not bode well, and now the Chinese stocks, after going up for like last few days, the company that makes weapons for Pakistan, they're now coming down. Yeah, definitely. Israel's definitely not going to be offended by it. I'm sure there's some problem that Trump is not coming, because I think Netanyahu was the first foreign leader to come to U.S. after Trump was elected, or after Trump took office.
Now let's talk about China's defense companies. They have been in
like first time. That's what I meant. Noah pointed out. Even Loomer and Ben Shapiro are not even just them. Ted Cruz went on Fox News this morning, and he was saying it's not good optics that Trump's accepting a jet from Qatar.
spotlight over the past week. Investors were making big bets on Chinese companies. Their shares were soaring. That rally ended today. Chinese defense stocks are under pressure. The sell-off hit major players.
By the way, if you guys are just joining in, be sure to hit the like button down below. And above my head, we have the subscriber counter. We're trying to get to 94,000, so we just need 240 subscribers more. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe and the like button.
Like Avic Chengdu Aircraft. They are the makers of the J-10 fighter jets. Avic's stock price fell by over 9% today. Similarly, shares of Zuzu Hongda Electronics fell by over 6%. This company makes the PL-15 missiles. Now, Pakistan has both systems in its arsenal, the J-10 fighter jet and the PL-15 missile. Pakistan uses both. They were deployed against India last week. And this is when their stocks shot up. But they failed to perform, and then the fighting stopped. So investors who had bet on a longer conflict lost money. Their bet failed. Their calculation was quite simple. If India and Pakistan continue to fight,
This is where the Chinese stocks are also weird. They don't focus on maximizing profits, because government can step in anytime and say, hey, you cannot do this deal. Or a lot of the companies are actually owned by CCP officials too. So the Chinese citizens don't get to invest in these stocks that they want to invest in.
more Chinese arms would be sold to Pakistan. And on paper, this made sense. China remains Pakistan's largest weapon supplier. China is Pakistan's largest weapon supplier from 2019 to 2023. In 4 years, 81% of Pakistan's arms came from China. That's over $5 billion in sales. China has a virtual monopoly over Pakistan's defense supplies, so a longer operation with India would have meant more orders and more sales for these companies. But that's not how it played out. So the stocks fell. A bigger worry, though, is how the Chinese weapons performed or failed to perform, especially the PL-15 missile. This was used in combat for the first time last week, the PL-15. Pakistan fired several Chinese missiles at India. None of them hit the mark. India's air defenses intercepted almost all of them. Several pieces of the Chinese
So India is saying this was PL-15, but Pakistan is saying that it's really not. What do you guys think? So this was the broken piece that they found in India. So this was somewhere fallen, unexploded in India. And this is what like PL-15 looks like in real life. So like this is what the China is advertising. To me, it does look like the same thing. Like if you compare it, we got this, we have the, whatever that's, the wings at the, wings in the middle and then the wings at the end. Yeah, it does look the same and it's broken in the middle. So the crazy part is, as soon as the war started, at like 4 a.m., Chinese diplomats went to Islamabad, I think, or somewhere in Pakistan, I don't know where, and they went to like the war headquarters in Pakistan because they were monitoring this just as close as the Pakistani people, because almost all the weapons are Chinese weapons and they have never been tested in any war. So they really wanted to see how they perform, what's like the shortfall, what's the positives and stuff like that. Yeah, it does look the same to me, pretty much. Where did it go? Yeah, definitely. Like, this is probably where the words were. Who in the chat knows Major General Mao Xingqiu? I don't think I know who that is.
missile landed on Indian soil. In at least one case, an entire missile came down nearly intact. It was found in the Indian state of Punjab. You can see the pictures. This is a border state in North India. And since then, missile debris has been recovered from multiple locations in India. There are new photographs almost every day. They show the rear body of the missile and its guidance section. Again, these parts appear to be intact, as if the missile never went off. There could be several explanations for this.
Pakistan bought it from Wish. I think Wish is out of business now. Let me see. Is Wish out of business?
Maybe Pakistani pilots did not fire the missile correctly.
Wait, is the warhead missing? Oh, yeah, it is missing. Okay, yeah, I didn't see. It did explode. You're right. Who was that? Laoslo. You were right, yeah. It's a Timu
Locations
missile.
and its guidance section. There could be several explanations for this. Maybe Pakistani pilots did not fire the missile correctly, or the missile lost power, or it was shot down, or it just missed the target. Whatever the reason, the result was the same. The missiles proved to be duds. They fell on the ground, mostly undamaged.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't look like it wasn't like it. I'm pretty sure they hit whatever they were trying to hit, or air defense took them out, I think. But I'm pretty sure this is where like U.S. should be more involved with India because US can get access to all the debris that India found, and I'm guessing through Quad or something, US should be able to get access. That should be like a great benefit to the US military in case there's ever a war in Taiwan.
And this is very bad publicity for the company that makes them. These pictures are circulating the world over. They would certainly make China's defense clients think twice.
Okay, we have randomly people saying that Pakistan is attacking again, but I don't see any news.
Who would buy a weapon that does not do its job? The wreckage is now with the Indian authorities. It is a valuable asset. It can reveal key details about the missile's range, design, and vulnerabilities. This can help India build countermeasures. It also exposes the enemy's weaknesses. For intelligence agencies, this is a major gain. For China, it is a strategic setback.
Oh yeah, Steven said if missile had went off, it would have separated in two different spots. If you look at the second piece there, the warhead is still on. Okay, that makes sense. So it doesn't seem like, so I'm guessing it's probably the air defense system that took out the missile. It wasn't the missile exploded.
And this isn't the only one. Last week's hostilities also exposed China's air defense systems, like the HQ-9 and HQ-16. Both are Chinese made, both are operated by Pakistan. They are copies of the Russian systems, the S-300 and the S-400 systems. The Chinese machines are modeled on the Russian ones. Defense experts often describe them as cheaper copies. But they proved to be very costly for Pakistan because they failed.
Oh yeah, we got more report, and I think it seems like Pakistan lost like a lot of people at the airbase. When India attacked all these airbases, a lot of high-level generals were there who didn't make it out. So that's definitely was a big hit.
Forces breached these Chinese defenses last week. At least 3 locations were compromised.
Yeah, Samurai. I didn't know warhead is usually at the back. That's definitely my mistake. We have a military expert, Chuck Farr, on the channel. I'm not the military guy at all. I think tomorrow we'll try to do a stream with Chuck Farr. He'll break down more like how the Chinese tech performed in this war.
Lahore, Chaklala, and Sialkot. In each case, Chinese air defense systems were neutralized by India, and that raises serious questions about their real-world performance. So the market reaction was only to be expected. They were hoping for profits from a sales boost. Instead, they're getting scrutiny after delivering a disaster. You see, when a weapon fails, the damage is not just tactical, it hurts reputations. China clearly has a lot of work to do. At First Post, we are choosing to hold on to accuracy. That means we won't always be first. We may not get you your breaking alert. But what you will get is what we owe you, and that is the truth. Verified, checked, and cross-checked. We rely on sources and verified ones. After all, that's what separates a journalist from a loudspeaker. But sometimes even we miss a beat. And when we do, we will tell you. Like yesterday, we ran visuals from a registered news agency. That visual turned out to be fake, so we are taking accountability. And from now on, we will cite the source of every visual. Every picture, every video that you see on First Post will have a source mentioned. That is our commitment to you.
It's not just rumor. It's not just the Chinese air-to-air missiles. So many of the Chinese military stuff is just copied or stolen from the U.S. military. In fact, news just came out that China has the spying going on at Stanford, and a lot of the Chinese students who come on visa, CCP basically blackmails them to take on research that CCP wants them to take on so they can steal. So let's say CCP decides that China is really behind in AI or they're really behind in quantum computing. Well, all these people who get student visa to Stanford from China, well, CCP basically extorts them. They attack their parents, they like intimidate their parents who are back in China and forces them to do what CCP wants them to do. So a lot of these students, again, they are kind of being forced to do what they're doing, but they are spying for the CCP. Not willingly, but they are doing it.
We will wait, we will verify, we will ask again, and only then will we tell you. No noise, no panic, just the fact.
Yeah, they just copied. The DeepSeek, that was pretty much the copy of ChatGPT. And on top of that, news came out that China built it using their own what is it called? The chips, using their own GPUs, when in fact that was not true. China was buying the GPU that was sanctioned in China, so China is not supposed to buy them, but they were buying it through Singapore. So Singapore bought more GPUs than the whole electrical consumption that country has. clearly, I think everyone can guess where that GPU is going. Singapore is buying it, then someone is reselling them in China.
Facts, because right now, that is what the country needs most.
Okay, wait. go
Brutal.
back. That's too long. I have the Modi speech. Let me see if I can find. Right here. So I have an English version, but like I said, we don't have the whole speech. I couldn't find the whole speech anywhere, but this is just some clips.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has flexed the might of his nation in a powerful speech which blasted Pakistan, putting them on notice and saying India will have justice for the senseless killings of innocent people.
They were like innocent people who were just enjoying themselves and citizens. And they asked them what their religion was. And then in front of their families, in front of their children, they were killed with so brutally. And this was a big terrorist, and this was a very bad and a very cruel face of the terrorism.
He then sent out a blunt warning to
Yeah, Singapore. That's where the way Singapore developed over the last like 50 years, it's pretty insane. That's what Deng Xiaoping copied. Basically, he wanted a country that has capitalism in the economy, but he didn't want like the free speech and democracy that the Western countries had. And that's what basically Singapore is. It's a lot more free than China, but it's not. Singapore democracy is a lot different than the Western democracies.
any terrorists looking to harm India and its people.
He also told.
But LOL never. I think ChatGPT themselves came out and said that a lot of the DeepSeek stuff does seem to be just built on ChatGPT. Again, that doesn't mean they could not be wrong. ChatGPT is gonna is gonna just lie to protect their reputation. But that's what they said. Hey, what's up, Noah? Bye. Peace.
Our army of India, that they can do whatever they wish, however they wish. And today, each and every terrorist and every organization who are terrorists, they know that our daughters and our sisters, that if they want to remove the sindoor from the foreheads of our daughters and our sisters, and what will be the consequences of it.
And Modi's threats weren't empty. India has been precisely attacking Pakistan's key military sites as a warning and to show their strength, like this attack on a nuclear weapons facility.
Yeah, the cost for the DeepSeek was extremely low. But again, if you're not spending on R&D, it's going to be extremely low.
And this attack on Pakistan.
Wait, is it true? We have a lot more people saying that India is under attack, but I don't see anything on Twitter either.
Highly fortified.
I'll ask someone.
Nur Khan Air Base, which had Pakistan panicked and forced them to call the US begging for a ceasefire, according to reports.
भाईजान नूर खान बेस में आके गिरा है ये अटैक हुआ है नूर खान बेस पे बिल्कुल घर के सामने अभी एक जहाज गुजरा है और ये नूर खान बेस के ऊपर
Yeah, Pratik, I think you're right. It's not today. I think yesterday India was attacked. The crazy part, a lot of people may not know, Pakistan and India, they speak different languages. I think India mostly speaks Hindi, Pakistan speaks Urdu, but the languages are like pretty similar. 80% of them are like very similar. The words.
This commentator reacted to the attack, saying, reports suggest India may have precisely targeted the hills where Pakistan's nuclear assets are stored. The result, panic in Islamabad and desperate calls to the Trump for a ceasefire. Locals even uploaded videos claiming they felt tremors like an earthquake after the missile strikes. Connect the dots. This could explain why the USA went into overdrive to de-escalate the situation. Looks like Pakistan's nuclear arrogance also got a brutal reality check like their air defense system. By all accounts, Pakistan is crumbling. seen most
See, I don't know if the Pakistanis are ethnically the same as Indians. They used to be one country, so, but I don't know if ethnically, that's probably some scientific thing.
clearly through their press conference that was ridiculed across the globe for failing to use primary source evidence, instead using social media clips.
On the basis of which we are sitting over here, and from the night of this.
The craziest part about Pakistan, which I learned from like someone who has worked for the US government, is when US officials visit Pakistan, they don't go like, let's say some high level US official goes to Pakistan to meet with all the officials there. They don't go meet with the PM first or the prime minister. They go meet with the army chief, because the military in Pakistan has like insane power. They are stronger than the government. And the other interesting is Pakistan is, I think, it's same as India. I think Pakistan was created when India was created, or when India got its independence. And since like in the last 75 years, Pakistan hasn't had one single prime minister finish the whole term. They either get overthrown, resigned, or assassinated.
6th, 7th May, you are seeing this blatant aggression that has taken place from India. What is the reality of that? Please run the first clip.
से ज़्यादा यहाँ पर आर्मी है। अगर यहाँ पर पोस्ट कोई शेयर करेगा ना, उसको रात में ही उठा लेंगे। अगर कोई पोस्ट गलत
blasted the performance, saying hilarious. Pakistan Army held a dramatic press conference claiming they'd hit targets inside India from Sirsa to Delhi, total copycat of the Indian Army style. But guess what? Zero proof, no videos, no footage, nothing. What are they, a circus act? And while many see India as a passive nation, this commentator says they are now showing their might.
The moment India strikes back, the world cries, why isn't India being more peaceful? Here's the truth.
I don't think anyone was going after India for not being peaceful. I think people just didn't want it to break out into a nuclear war. So, yeah.
The world loves a passive India because a strong, self-respecting Hindu civilization scares them. But peace cannot exist without justice, and peace without the threat of consequences, that's a trap. Remember one thing, our scriptures teach balance, not blindness. We are told to seek peace, yes, but also to act when peace is broken. So the next time the world guilt trips India, ask where was their outrage when we were bleeding?
Yeah, okay, so the Qatari jet is going to the Presidential Library Foundation, but I don't know what that means. Doesn't Trump get to use it after his term is over? Because it doesn't matter where it's going. If he's personally getting to use it, isn't that a little problematic?
And whilst India and Pakistan are standing by their agreed ceasefire for now, President Donald Trump has taken credit, claiming he brokered the deal with the threat of stopping trade.
We helped a lot. And we helped also with trade. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop.
This Indian commentator blasted Trump for the statement, saying, Trump just torpedoed billions in potential US-India defense deals with one reckless, narcissistic remark about using trade as leverage to pressure India. In a single stroke, he confirmed every fear Indian defense planners have, that America is an unreliable partner willing to weaponize even its own alliances.
Okay, I think today's stream will probably end it there. We've been going on for a while, and then we'll start early tomorrow because Trump is doing a speech from Qatar. So let's see if he's accepting the jet or not. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.